Hello makers. While I was recording plastic welding of the bottom part of the R2-D2's dome, I ran into a slight problem with this 3D pen. Towards the end of it, the temperature was fluctuating somewhat wildly. The result is that I had to abort welding with it because it kept on shutting down my welding process, with the temperature fluctuating between 170 degrees C and 230 degrees C. This is not a particularly good situation to be in when you're playing with PLA. The good news is I did have another 3D pen on hand. It came in this box. Inside the box we had the 3D pen, a cable that plugs into a USB power adapter that is not supplied, 2 lengths of filament. Now, according to the manual, 1 length of filament is PLA and the other one is something called PCL. I have no idea what PCL is, and apparently it runs at a lower temperature than the PLA. I've been using this PLA for all of my printing, and that's what I'll be using when I continue. I prefer to print it around with the pen at around 200 degrees C. It did come with a user's manual. As you can see, some of it's in Chinese, but when you go to the other end and turn it over, or when you turn over the page, it's in English. And it gives a fair amount of information about how it works. What was interesting was the brochure that came with it, which says low temp 3D pen, safe drawing on hands. And I'll actually show that on the display. I found that quite amusing, knowing that the filament will be coming out at 200 degrees C. It was packaged very nicely though. I haven't started it up yet. I've never used this pen. I did get it a while ago as a backup for when this pen failed. This is actually the second one of these I've had. Version 1 of this, you held the button for it to extrude. When you let go of the button it would stop. With this one it's push the button to start and then push the button again to stop. This one shows the pen at the button as load and pause. So we'll set PLA. As we scroll through the menu, we've got ABS, PCL and PLA. On first power up it started out at PCL. I'm guessing pressing of the load button will start it heating, which it does. Now it does say that it requires a 2 amp 5 volt power supply, which I have got connected. Used to be a tablet power supply, which makes this a 10 watt 3D pen. For those of you who are familiar with 3D printers, most 3D printers have a 40 watt nozzle in them. So it's obviously not going to run anywhere near as fast as a 3D printer. It is heating up reasonably quickly. It's already reached 120 degrees C. I'm assuming that's in Celsius. The manual only lists temperatures in Celsius. It says PLA is between 160 and 180 degrees C. And I do run significantly hotter than that. And it won't let me go any more than 180. Be interesting to see if it works then. Now the manual did say that on first startup that they can sometimes smoke. This is normal and don't worry about it. But there is a clear material coming out of the end. I'm thinking it must be some sort of clear PLA or some other such material. So I should be able to push load and I can feel the motor running. I can hear it running now. Sounds like it's running way too fast for what I need to do.
Snooty.
Okay, after trialling this 3D pen, what I found is the lowest speed that it's got, and it is set, it can only be set while the pen is not feeding. So it has 8 speeds. The lower speed is really still a little bit too fast for plastic welding. You need it to be running slow enough that you can use the tip to melt where you're going to, and so it runs a little bit on the quick side. It does, beyond that, appear to work reasonably well, although I did find that when you hit the stop button it appeared to run on a second or so before it actually stopped. To unload the filament, you have to hold the unload button for 3 to 4 seconds before it starts unloading, and it appears to unload at the same speed that was set for printing. The manual is not overly helpful. It does say the speed adjustment can be adjusted from 1 to 8. It does say grade 1 is the slowest and grade 8 is the fastest. It doesn't actually tell you have to be stopped to adjust the speed. That I found by trial and error. It had a filament of some sort in it. It was clear in colour. It might have been a low temp filament. It was almost like a glue. It could be the what do they call that stuff? PCL. Although I haven't found out what PCL is yet. Beyond that, it appears to be reasonably good. It heats up reasonably well. It seemed to maintain its temperature reasonably well. It's, lightweight. Unlike the other 3D pen, it does actually have the hot warning on the black section at the front, and I know that on the other pen did heat up. I didn't run this for very long because it was running a little bit on the fast side. If it would go about half the speed of its slower setting, it would be ideal. It's not a pen that I would recommend for welding. If you were just doing sculpting, it would probably be great. I don't know, it seemed to work reasonably well on the higher speeds. It came preset for around speed 5. When you press the speed buttons, the up and down buttons, it will display what speed it's on while you're extruding, and then it goes back to temperature. When you have it on PLA, it will not exceed 180 degrees C. I haven't tried it on any of the other settings yet. But yeah, I'll be using it for a little while to do welding while I wait for another 3D pen to arrive. In the meantime, I will go back to trying to weld up my R2-D2.